I'm Anthony Nguyen. Join us as we change the narrative around aged care, one story at a time. Welcome back to the Pioneers in Aged Care podcast. Here we have Phil Mackney, the Chief Operating Officer at Bupa Villages and Aged Care. Thank you so much, Phil, for being on the podcast.
Thanks, Anthony.
Look, I appreciate having you on. Before I get into the episode, I want to give a shout out to the sponsors. So the sponsors for this episode is Aurelia Legal, which is an immigration law firm focusing on the aged care sector, specializing in navigating 482 and 186 visa sponsorships. The other sponsor is Global Talent Agency, a boutique international talent solutions specialist connecting great Australian businesses to highly skilled aged care talent from across the globe. And the third sponsor is Zipline, which exists to serve aged care's needs through frontline compliance, visitor management, and enhanced resident experiences. So thank you so much, guys. Without your sponsorship, this conversation wouldn't be possible. Right, nice. Now let's start with learning about Bupa Villages and Aged Care. Give us a broad overview, locations, presence, services. We'll start there.
Yeah, no worries. So 57 homes, mainly along the East Coast, so Adelaide, through a lot of Victoria, regional Victoria, New South Wales, regional New South Wales, and then Queensland. We also have a couple of retirement villages that operate, one in Sydney and then one also in Adelaide. I've been with the organisation for about 5.5 years. Organisation has been operating for 20 odd years. It's an amalgamation and purchase of a number of different organisations over the years. So,
wow. Yeah. What drew you to Bupa?
So I've been in aged care total. Use my fingers and toes about 20 years.
Yeah.
All up. I was with another organisation, Regis, for 12 years, and it was time to change. Time for a change. And Bupa, I'd sort of been speaking to a few people in the organisation for a little while, and they were going through a few challenges, and were looking for someone to take them to that next step, turn things around. And there was a few people that came in around that time. And I started on 18th of January in 2020, and then I think what is it, the 19th of March? I think the country went into lockdown. So
you started as the COO?
No, I started as the regional director. So I looked after the then it was Canberra, New South Wales, Queensland locations.
Yeah, because you're still trying to get your feet settled. You're still trying to learn everything, and then everything else gets thrown out the window, and now you're in Scrabble mode, right?
That's right. It's a bit of you get thrown curveballs. It was. I think we were going through a lot at the time as an organisation, and so everyone was sort of in the same boat. And I think COVID. It didn't matter how stable the organisations were in whether it's aged care or any other business, particularly in health. That was a big curveball for everyone. That we all had to change overnight. How we were doing things, and it really probably through the changes that we were going through as an organisation, it probably helped, if anything, us to really focus on what mattered. Focus on ensuring we had good connection with our people, with our homes.
Can you tell me any moments that, whether they exist or not, were there any moments, because you've been in aged care now, you've seen pretty much everything, and like you said, in aged care, you get thrown curveballs all the time. How do you get through that? How do you continue? Because I know a lot of people have burnt out and exited the industry, and fair enough. What's kept you going?
Look, I think purpose. I know that's it's a bit of a catchphrase. Everyone throws it out there, but great example. I got a letter from a resident and her son, separate letters, This is only going back a month or two. And the resident had asked her son to dictate her letter. By the time I got the letter, which was a week or so after she dictated it, she'd already passed away.
Oh.
But she knew she was in the last few days of her life, and she wanted to say thank you to all the people that had cared for her. And she'd only been with the with us, being part of the family, for sort of 6 months. And so her son dictated the letter, and it was just really simple, but just said thank you, called out some individuals in the home, and just the stuff they did day to day that seemed so little but meant so much to her. And it gave her the opportunity. She knew she was palliating, but it gave her an opportunity to reconnect with her son really well. And her son wrote a letter as well, and a much more detailed letter about the opportunity it gave him and his mum to really come together and really enjoy those last moments with her. And that, got that from both. That was incredible. And that's the bit you sort of go, you can't use it. You can't. We can share it with the home. We can share it with the individuals. But it's sort of that reminder. That's
it's a personal message of gratitude to you guys.
Well, it wasn't to me. It's not. I'm not the one there. Caring for her, and it's our people on the ground. And but that's such an important part that we play in someone's life, and not just our residents, their families, their extended families, their grandkids, their children, their partners. If we can, and it's tough because we don't get it right all the time, but if we can really deliver that through those last moments, and that's majority of our residents pass away with us. That can be life changing for everyone. Life changing for everyone, and it can create generational memory, which is pretty important role we play, and I love that. I think it's
those are the type of stories in my previous career as a recruiter. Those are the type of stories I would use to, I guess, entice nurses to consider aged care, because there is that deeper connection. There's a lot more to talk about to entice people into aged care now, but at its core, it's stories like those.
Yeah. And I think the aged care was seen as sort of the. I remember hearing stories about it was a place where nurses went to end their career, and it's so not true. It's there's absolute career pathway now for people. There's specialization. Aged care itself is a specialization. It's not just a technical role that calls on all that nursing capability and from carers, from registered nurses, enrolled nurses, you name it. But it also, in the roles that people play, particularly for our registered nurses, they're leadership roles. They're leading a team, and so you see the development of people's leadership through their time in aged care, and it's phenomenal to see. And I think it builds resilience, it builds empathy. I think it's a really unique sector. And look, it's surprisingly, it's fast paced. It's
yes, it is.
It's always on. It's 24/7, but today is going to be just as hectic, and there's could have thousands of curveballs thrown your way at any moment, and that's exciting as well. You've got to be able to think ahead, plan. You've got to be able to think on your feet. You've got to be resilient. You've got to be able to and look after those around you. It's because it is, and that I think that's the other one is that the decision to come into aged care is normally not something that someone goes, absolutely, I want to move into aged care.
No, not yet anyway.
No. But and whether it ever is going to be, I think I know myself, I'd love to be able to stay at home and with my wife and, around places that I know as I age, but the reality is that's probably not going to happen. So when someone moves into aged care, there's all that, loss, grief, guilt, emotions that come with it, and not just the individual that's actually making the decision. Everyone else around, all the key stakeholders. So it's a really unique industry, really.
Tell me about your journey into aged care, because I think when did you join? 2008?
2008, yes.
Yeah, that was your first foray into aged care?
It was. And I came from very different industries. I had worked in aged care in the 90s, the late 90s, as a carer. I'd done that for 18 months or so, 2 years. Was working in a home in Brisbane that doesn't exist anymore. And then, transitioned into security, did that for sort of 10 years or so, running a security company up there, and had a training school and a few other things. And then I got to the point there where I said, right, I've got to get out. Had to get out of the industry I was in. It was I was getting older. There was a few things that sort of just really said, actually, if I stay in this sector, I was gonna either I was gonna get hurt, or I was gonna there was just other things that I wasn't, I'd done enough of in that sector and achieved enough, and I needed to sort of take another step, a different direction. And opportunity came to step into aged care, into a really, it was a role, again, doesn't exist anymore with Regis, but it was sort of it was an operational support type role, analyst, I don't know what else you'd sort of throw in there, HR, a whole bunch of other things.
Bit of everything.
And so I jumped over to Regis, and I was in their Queensland office, and then very quickly sort of got asked to move down to Victoria and look after that state, and then sort of it grew from there. And then I said, Regis had an amazing time there. It's a great organisation, went through heaps and heaps of change from 2008. If I think back, I think there was, I can't remember how many homes they had, 27 or something back then. So,
So looking at your journey into aged care, starting as a carer, when were you a carer?
In 96, something like that, yeah.
Did you, at the time, think I'm coming back to aged care, or it was just a moment in time, just an experience that you...
I think when you're in your early 20s, you're not really...
Yeah, you just
you're not
doing whatever.
I hadn't gone to... I had mates in uni, and I'd sort of taken the path down and joined the army, and I wasn't really...
Yeah.
The thing, I loved it. Like the 2 years I was in as a carer, I loved it. It was I don't know, the amazing connections you had with residents and they rely on you. They rely everything on you, and it's
You've pretty much had every role in aged care. Well, not every role, but
I've done a decent number of them. Yeah. Look, variety.
But it's good to have the full breadth of experience.
I think what I think my time as a carer has given me, gave me perspective on a number of different areas. One, the challenges and I suppose the emotional impact that being a carer has, and the impact you can have, and how tough that role can be. I think because it's really easy to, when you're separated from the workforce, is to rely solely on spreadsheets or believed truths. So actually living and breathing it probably was a good lesson as well for me, that it also meant that whenever I've been in leadership roles, staying connected, like that's for me, that's always been something really important. So be visible, be connected, make sure I spent time actually talking to the people that are actually doing the work. One, they know what they're talking about. But two, you'll get unique insight about rather than just looking at reports or looking at talking to your people in head office, you'll actually get real insight. And it doesn't mean that it can't be improved. I think that's the whole purpose of staying connected, is you can see and get various different viewpoints along the way. And that's always been important to me. But I think that for me, sort of, I remember that. And I know when I stand, when I go and talk to teams in the homes, or you do, sort of sessions with them where they get to know, where you get to know each other. And I know, they're probably a bit surprised to hear that I was a carer.
Well, and it gives you that extra level of credibility. Not saying you're not credible without it, but it's just makes you more relatable. That you've been in their shoes and you understand their stresses and challenges.
Yeah, thanks.
You've been at Bupa for, what is it, 5.5?
Yeah, 5.5 years
now.
Yep.
What are things that you've implemented or achieved at Bupa that you're pretty proud about?
Look, I think we've done a heck of a lot, and it's like none of it is sort of me. It's all, there's a whole bunch of really smart people that I work with, and I think probably the thing that I would like to think that I've influenced strongly is the leadership growth for people and the succession pathways, etc. That we've really looked at giving people clarity, simplifying stuff as much as possible, and then giving them a pathway to sort of grow as an individual. It doesn't have to be career; it can be just skill set based.
Can you think of an example of a particular person?
Look, I think there's been, there's a number of people that have I've worked with for many years, that have come through from junior roles. That, and I sort of, I'm probably, I'd love to say it was all me. The individual's got to be has got to be pushing it too. And I think, but there's a bunch. We've got some great people that I still work with or stay in contact with that have under their own steam as well, but with my help have really grown, and I've exposed them to new areas, and I think that's given them a bit of trust and faith to just have a crack and make a few errors and learn from those. And I think that's there's a few really great people that are in the sector that with various organisations. You've interviewed a few as well over your time, and I think that's I love seeing that. And
along with the, I guess the career pathways and the leadership opportunities, what else stands out about Bupa, Bupa Villages and Aged Care as a place to work?
Yeah, no worries. So one opportunity, it's a big one. It's a big organisation. I think there's opportunity, and we live and breathe our values. Like I've been surprised. I was surprised when I first came in to see the people bleed blue. It's really interesting. Really? There's a real connection with the organisation and what we stand for. And I think brave, caring, responsible is something that people sort of live and breathe by, and I think it runs from top to bottom. It really does, and I think so which is great, because I think we care deeply for our people, we care deeply for our residents, and at times when we've been far too modest at times as an organisation, and that's also a great trait. The fact that we've just got to keep
in the background.
We've just got to keep turning up and delivering. When we get it wrong, we're first ones to put our hands up and say, "Yep, we've done it wrong," and put in place things to get it right, and repair or start to repair the damage done. I think. But we're also innovative as well, and for a large organisation that can be a real challenge. But we're innovative. So we've introduced things like our wellness hubs, which are nurse practitioner run centres, virtual centres deliver for care for our residents, and they specialised care. So whether it's through nurse practitioners, dietitians, OTs, physiotherapists, etc. Social work, psychology, you name it, that they will support our residents through their time with us. We've had nurse practitioner models now for about 18 months, 2 years. We've had 10 scholarships for nurse practitioners that we've rolled out, so that's been fantastic. We've got a big commitment to our overseas program as well. We've had, over the last 12 months, 83 registered nurses that we've brought in. We've had 140 odd carers that we've sponsored as well. Now, the carers are internal people, but there's that sort of opportunity that we've lent right into as well. We've got traineeships for various different roles that we've implemented and got in place. Our focus on giving people opportunity through skill development has been really, I think it's great. It's not just about training people, that can be done online. We've really committed to that. And then the other one is our focus on leadership. That's a big one. And I live and breathe that. That's and not just about, it's not just about teaching people to be managers. It's actually teaching people to connect and be vulnerable and learn and
develop others.
Very, very much so. I think, well, firstly, you've got to, people will want to step into leadership because they're inspired. They've got a connection with what they do. They've got a connection with the organisation. They've got a connection with the end user, the customer. But they've got to be inspired. And, that's not just about someone standing up in front of them going, rah, rah, rah. That's about actually living and breathing it as well. And
no big William Wallace speech.
No. Look, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's sometimes people need motivation from that sort of thing. But I suppose if you just say it and don't do it, that doesn't work either. That actually degrades trust and very quickly. Whereas I think leading through that connection, leading through testing and thinking and asking and talking to people and getting feedback has been a really big part of my journey. And I think that's, I probably, if you said what have I done, I think that's probably a big bit of it is, I always ask the team for feedback, and not just, I sort of ask, what do they want more of, what do they want less of, or get really specific about stuff and ask them how they felt about a decision that was made, knowing it was my decision. So
it sounds like you empower others to lead.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm not the best one in the room. Like, it's not,
Well, if you are, you're in the wrong room, right?
Yeah. It's not, there's plenty of other people that are around me that are heaps better than me. So, and you gotta, you want them to come to the floor.
Yeah. When you said, the thing you said about Bupa being maybe too modest, that just clicks with me, because you're absolutely right. I don't see, and everything you spoke about, all the benefits of being an employee of Bupa, those are amazing benefits, but I don't hear about it. I don't see anything on LinkedIn. I'll see something about Bupa now and then, but compared to the other bigger players, I'm sure you've got stuff out there, but just relative to others, you need to sing your praises more. And I think aged care as an industry as a whole also needs to do that, and that's the whole purpose of the podcast. But I think we can do better to really let others know to come join the cause, because it is a great cause and it's a great place to work. And guys.
Yeah, look, I think we're I said, we don't get it right all the time, and I completely agree. I think I love seeing the stories of the individuals and their time with us and what they've done and learnt and experienced. And we absolutely need to do more of it. I think there's also been we want to make sure we get it right. I think
because you're such a large organisation, you're under more scrutiny, I guess. I
think also you want what you put out, you want to believe. And so I think there's a lot of insincere self-marketing that's out there, and I think we play such an important role in people's lives that if there's one person that doesn't believe it or doesn't believe what we're trying to do, it can have an impact on that individual. We may never see them, but it's got that can impact them. So we want to make sure we're getting it right.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that when we don't get it right, they feel empowered to call us out on it and say, hey, you didn't get it right. You didn't get it right with mum, or you didn't get it right with dad, or you didn't get it right with me. Yeah. And so I suppose that's what we've sort of been building over the last, particularly the last 3 years, is really building that trust back into making sure that it's really clear, people can trust us and they can really believe in what we do.
What's on for the next 12 months? What are you excited about in relation to both Bupa and aged care? What's exciting you?
So, look, obviously there's still a lot going on in aged care. We've got the strengthened standards that's going to come into play now in November, which, I think the positive about that is the government paused. They listened and they paused, which I think's a real credit to them to do that. That's great. I think, but we were sort of ready for it. So you sort of get to the start line, and then they go, no, it's not for another 5 months. Which that happens. So you got to deal with it. I think. So I think that's going to take up a lot of space and time. It will require organisations to be creative. Particularly with as health comes in, we're really, and it's great being forced to really engage with the customer and really hear them and really listen to them. And there'll be bumps in the road. There'll be stuff that's, I think that's probably been the good bit about the pause, is because it gives systems and applications a chance to be ready, which they just weren't going to be if they'd rolled it out on the 1st of July. But I think that organisations are going to have to be creative around how they deliver for their customer. Yeah. I think it's probably also opened up. I talk regularly to other people from other organisations, and I think it's probably forced the sector to start talking more to each other and sharing, which has been really, I think, will be a real positive.
Yes.
We're all competitors. We're all, that's fine, but at the end of the day, we're competing in a amazing market for our individual residents, and I think that sort of binds us all together as well. So I think that's, for me, that's always exciting, and I think that the innovation that will come, there's the what can be done with things, and AI is a tool. But there's going to be stuff with that we've never thought of. That I think the more we test and the more we start thinking about those things, for Bupa, how we get the best benefit for our residents out of the huge business that we are, across dental, optical, health services, growing the wellness hubs, those sorts of things. I think really fantastic. It's super exciting. And then we're the potential for we've got a couple of older sites that we've now looking at, well, what do we do next with those? And I think that's exciting in itself, and particularly how that fits in with the strengthened standards, the changes in the changes in the legislation, and how that's going to then guide aged care providers in how they build, where they build, what they build, the amenity in their build, and how it links to other parts of, whether it's to other health services, to other retirement, to other services that support the staff. That's really exciting.
You've got a huge 12 months ahead of you. Okay, so we're going to jump into the questions from the sponsors. So the first question is from Nilesh Bansal, the principal and founder of Aurelia Legal, which is an immigration law firm focusing on the aged care sector, specializing in navigating 482 and 186 visa sponsorships.
Hello, my name is Nilesh Bansal, founder and principal of Aurelia Legal. We specialize in helping aged care providers plan workforce strategies and assist them with visa applications for their staff. My question is, Looking ahead, what do you see are the biggest hurdles in maintaining adequate staffing levels? And are there any particular roles or skills that are proving especially difficult to fill in Australia? If so, how do you intend to address these challenges? Thank you.
Okay, great question. So I think so. The few sort of parts of that answer. Location is key, and we see that in certain locations we have no problems with finding adequate applicants for roles. Our regional locations, very different story. And then depending on the location as well, whether it's registered nurses, whether it's carers, whether it's administration staff or chefs, maintenance officers, etc., it'll vary slightly depending on the location. So I think knowing the market, knowing what's out there. Probably one thing we don't do well as as a sector is we don't share well at the moment. We haven't. No one's cracked that nut quite yet. How we can better share resources because we're all on different EAs. But if I have a regional, hard to find, registered nurse role, I might have 1.5 FTE. I can fill the 1 FTE, but the half I can't. But down the road, they've got half an FTE vacancy, right?
Yeah.
And being able to work in a better way that actually says, all right, I can give this registered nurse a Sunday and a Wednesday. What can you give to fill up their roster? And I think so. There's inefficiencies just in general in the sector around that. It's relying on the individual then to go and shop around and find. I need a Sunday or I need a Wednesday. So I think there's something we haven't quite cracked that nut as a sector yet. The hard to fill roles. Look, I think there's always going to be need, and as I said, we've put on 83. We've done 83 registered nurses sponsors over the last 12 months. We've sponsored 140 carers in the last 12 months. So and we'll keep doing those sort of things. I think so that will always be there. It will be more regionally focused, I would imagine. And I think the ability for us to move team members as well from like a city location to the city, to a regional location, as a sort of golden opportunity to step into a role, we're able to do a bit of as well. I think, look, we've lived and breathed it, is that reputation's everything, and reputation's not just about a great sign out the front. You've got to prove that you can be trusted. You've got to prove that you give your people opportunity, that you support them, you train them. And the big one is the connection. That's like, you've got to have that connection, and that's really, for us, I think, the big one. So even whether it's when our overseas people arrive in the country, they've got to feel an immediate connection. They've got to be connected to the home, to the team members, but they've also got to feel connected to Bupa. So, so I think that for us will always be you've got to work hard at that all the time. It's never going to be easy. You've got to put the time and effort in, and so your processes have got to support that. They can't be onerous. They can't be lots of tick boxing or looks great on a report up to the board, but actually the reality of what it does, to the people on the ground is terrible. That's never going to last, and it'll always impact you. So I think,
Yeah. Thank you, Nilesh, for that question. Next question is from Amit Thapa, the CEO of Global Talent Agency, which is a boutique international talent solution specialist connecting great Australian businesses to highly skilled aged care talent from across the globe.
Amit Thapa from Global Talent Agency here. I've got a question I'd love to ask you. In light of the ongoing workforce challenges across the aged care sector, what are your own experiences and considerations when exploring international recruitment as a means of addressing those shortages? I'd love to hear some of your wins and some of the learnings that's come out of it.
So similar to the last one, I think it's absolutely needed, right? It will be geographically targeted, right? So I think that will always be the case, and I think there will always be a need for that. We're a growing country. What are we at? 27 million. We're going to end up at 35 million, not too in the not too distant future. Aged care is going to have 1.5 million people employed in it in the next sort of 15, 20 years. We've got to grow, and does the current population have that capacity to grow with us when broader health is growing at a rate of knots as well? Probably not. So we're going to have to have that international focus as well, and I think we'll always have that. Probably the other one is, though, that we often talk about registered nurses, and now we've introduced nurse practitioners, which is fantastic. You've got great pathways and opportunities, but also we look at people outside of sector a lot, because you need people. One, it's growing, so you need more people to come in. But two, you need new ideas. And I've been in the sector now, total almost 20 years. So I need new ideas.
Yeah.
I need people to come in and challenge my thinking. And so, is that just going to come from Australia? I doubt it. I think, and I think particularly when you look at what other countries are doing around how they deliver aged care, and how they look at us about how we deliver aged care, there will need to be sort of sharing and swapping, and I think there's opportunity around that. Obviously, it's got to be the right candidate. Right candidate, right role. That's key. It's not just randomly throwing.
Yes. Yeah, they've got the minimum criteria. But
I think even more than that. I think it's more around. So, what are you really knowing what you want to achieve, right? What's the goal? What are you trying to achieve as an organisation? What do you need that role to then deliver for that organisation, not just today, but over the next 12, 18 months, 5 years? And find the person that has the skill set to deliver that. It's not just about minimum requirements. It's not just about they've been a GM before. Actually, do they have the right thinking to really challenge the organisation, challenge my thinking? Do they fit that workplace culture that you want in there to really drive that? I think that's really key. Otherwise, I've never been a minimum requirements. One, because I probably never had any of the minimum requirements for the jobs I've had. I've always believed that it's more about the individual. It's not the letters after their name, or they're important. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's got to be about the individual, what they're going to deliver. So we're not a big country, so there's 7 billion people outside of Australia.
Yes,
there's plenty of rock stars out there.
Absolutely.
that we should be looking at. Yeah.
Great answer and great question, Amit. The next question is from Michael Momsen, the CEO and founder of Zipline, which exists to serve aged care's needs through frontline compliance, visitor management, and enhanced resident experiences. Let me just pull up his question here. So his question is,
with the new Aged Care Act coming into effect soon, what do you see as the top 3 focus areas for operationalising the execution of this to make sure that the plans land well?
Yep. This is the question for take out Aged Care Act and put in anything. So we've and look, people that are far smarter than me have been really getting in and really understanding this for quite a long time. And even before there was clarity, we were already sort of planning how this was going to impact, what it was going to change, what the mapping from what we understood it going to from where we currently sat. And that was really important because, just understanding what needed to change, how much of a change it was going to have. The communication is probably the other big one. Like having a plan, you've got to have a plan. You've got to understand what's changing, how you're going to change it, education, etc., that's needed to do it. and then processes and stuff. And you've got to sort of back. We knew it was coming in on the 1st of July this year, and so we looked at how long have we got. When you work backwards, we knew we needed to have by February an update so that our key systems could be updated. We could get them updated, then test them, and have it if it was going to run perfect.
Yep.
Nothing ever runs perfectly, so we knew there was going to be a bit of fudge there. But yeah, the communication was the other one. Is because our team members, they're the ones that are delivering this, and some of the key changes that are coming through with strength and standards, in particular around additional services and those things, it's our team members on the ground that are having to live and breathe that change, because it directly can directly impact how our customer, our resident, sees the services, and so we've had to make sure that that's we've been testing and we've been piloting things for quite a long time. So that's been a big one. So for me, I think really understand the change. I really understand where you're going from to, how you're going to communicate it, and then test, like pilot it. Don't be afraid to fail. Like pilot it, and get lots of input. Like we've had working groups, and we've had and good robust debate over some stuff, even at the LT room. And it's so important. It's good. It's
everyone's challenging each other and making sure there's no holes.
Yeah. And the like, if it's just left up to the people in the leadership team in BVAC, then that's me and 8 other people. We're not going to cover everything. We don't know everything. So you've got to debate it and workshop it and so we've sort of been piloting stuff for a while to test out how it was going to impact our systems, our carers, our residents, most importantly. So and we'll keep doing that up until the 1st of November.
And you guys, you said you were pretty much there. You were ready to go. That must have felt, well, before the announcement came out that they delayed it, must have felt a huge sense of achievement to rally the troops and get everyone ready for the final day.
There's always, there were still systems that weren't ready, right? Yeah. But that's kind of always going to be the case. You've just got to have your manual workarounds and your stop gaps until they are. I think it was probably a bit of a letdown, to be honest. We were like, oh, what? No way, man.
It's like when you study for the test, you study so hard, you're ready to, because you're ready to kick goals.
We're ready. You didn't
get that opportunity to celebrate.
But the team's done an amazing job. Like the team there's a few teams that have been really working on this from all different angles, and they've done an incredible job. So again, the opportunity now between now and November is we'll just keep testing and keep sort of testing our thinking and keep preparing. So we're absolutely ready, but also we've really, really tested all the different areas we can. I think there's limitations. You can't test everything because the legislation's not in yet, but we can pilot a bunch of things through it and work out and really and we're also engaging heavily with the customer to get their thoughts on as we pilot stuff or as we understand, they've given us more and more clarity. We've gone and we've tested that with residents as well.
I like it. Now, tell me about yourself, because and this segment is for anyone who feels like me. If I saw you at a conference, Bupa, huge name, COO, huge title, you've got a commanding presence about you as well. What is something that you could share with people like myself who want to approach you but just need a little bit extra to talk about so that we can get a bit of time with you? So tell us about yourself, outside of work, outside of aged care. What do you enjoy?
Yeah, no worries. So firstly, just come up and say hello. So I'll give you. So in our family, we've got a bit of a theme that is just have a crack. That's the. So
okay.
Have a crack.
Just have a crack. Just come up to you, have a crack, say hello.
So, and for our girls, that's been a big one. So I've got 3 daughters. I've got a 9-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 28-year-old. My wife and I live with our 2 youngest ones in Cabarita Beach. up on far north coast of New South Wales. And so we've always had this sort of theme of just have a crack. Because if you don't know.
Where'd you get that from?
To be honest, I don't know. I think I probably might growing up. It was.
You always encouraged to just have a crack, just try it.
Yeah. Oh, yes, kind of had to. We lived on a farm in Bangalore, and I know my dad worked really long hours, and so the water would run out. You'd have to go out in the paddock and try and find out where the leak was. And as a 12-year-old or 11-year-old out in the dark with a torch and a shovel and trying to fix pipes, you kind of had to. And I think I honestly don't know where it's come from. It's just sort of been. I think I've probably been a bit lucky in my career as well. I used to joke around that it was fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Because I've never been qualified in anything. And didn't go to uni and sort of have just that grabbed opportunity. I've been really lucky. I've worked around amazing people, but just, So, but what do I love? I love the water. I love spending time with the kids and my family. I surf every morning I'm home.
All right.
I love team sports. I was playing footy I was actually, before we moved from Melbourne, I was playing footy until I was sort of 44 with a club here, Powerhouse.
And your knees and ankles have held up since?
Oh, they've never been great, but I think there was plenty of days where my knee would be sort of the size of a pumpkin, and I'd be hobbling around and I have But I love team sports. I love I play basketball on Thursdays with a bunch of dads from the local school. I play touch footy on a Wednesday. I coach my daughter's soccer.
You're playing at the moment. You're playing basketball and touch.
Yeah,
wow, okay.
Whenever I'm not travelling. So, and then I coach my 9-year-old daughter's soccer team as well. I love being active, and I love being parts of teams, and just so anything to stay active.
Yeah.
We love the water. So, my wife and I, whenever we can, we'll go out, stand up paddleboarding on the lake out the back.
That is harder than it looks. Well, maybe just because I'm not coordinated in that way. But the first time I tried standing up on it, the muscles in my feet just cramped up.
Oh yeah, my feet. Yeah.
I didn't realize you needed so much coordination and balance to stand on a board on still water.
Yeah. Water doesn't stay still very often for long though. We'll go. We camp. We were actually camping on the weekend. We went out to Misty Mountain and went camping out there with some of with the kids and also my sister and brother-in-law. We sort of just
very active lifestyle.
Yeah, love it. And I grew up not far from where we're living now, and I love the local country. Like it's amazing. It's beautiful. I've always felt a real connection with it. Feel a connection with the water. There's nothing better going out on sunrise. And
you don't get that fear of something lurking.
You know what? And sadly there was a shark attack on Sunday. Actually, when I was out in the water, but I don't want to think about it.
Yeah,
I don't want to think about it.
I know the stats about car crashes and sharks.
Oh, you know what? Stats are stats. It's the gut. There's places that you go sometimes and you go, oh, you get the creeps. Yeah, I'm paddling in. It just doesn't feel right. But where we are at Cabba, like I said, I've never seen a shark in all the time I've surfed. I've never seen one when I've been in the water.
Oh, okay.
Never seen one. Seen plenty of dolphins and see whales all the time. Like that's awesome, amazing. It's like if you don't during whale season, like you'll see half a dozen or a dozen at least whales every morning, and they're breaching and tail slapping and flipper slapping and all sorts of stuff.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I love that stuff.
I guess that makes it worth it.
Yeah.
Plus
it's worth the risk.
surf.
It's worth the risk. Oh, yeah.
Well, look, your inbox is going to be flooded now because everyone's going to have a crack and reach out. But
awesome.
You've been a pleasure to speak to. Thank you so much, Phil. Thanks for being on the podcast.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.